Alright guys, it's August 19th. The market is for oil and gold. It usually sets up around this time, around 7 a.m. on the East Coast. I have a trade set up both on gold and oil. Right now, gold finally kind of broke below here, this low value area that's been kind of consolidating for a while now. So if you look closely here, just finally broke below here, so look for a small retest and then a short at that point. And we don't really have a whole lot of support way down until about the 19 area, so but short about 10 contracts there. And then on oil, it's been kind of ranging up and down. It's kind of in a sideways movement. Came inside of the high value area over here, came back up, and then shorted again there. So I'm about 5 contracts in on there. I'm about to get out at least 3 of them on the 4281. And those are trades right now based off of just the breakdown. So we will continue this trade, and we'll see what happens. Let me go ahead and pause the video, and then let me manage this trade real quick. Alright, so I'm back. Didn't take too long, so my target's filled on oil. As you can see, I had the earlier I had it at the 80 and the 79, so it finally broke through there. Now really what I'm looking for is this thing to break either way. But right now the range is pretty big. You got your highs over here, your lows over here. It really needs to break to one side or the other, so it could just continue kind of ranging in that area for a while. And then we got gold over here, just kind of hit that high value area at the 1121 right here, looking to your left, and then next area right here with that 19.5, which I was actually looking at be my target. So we will kind of see how that works out. Looks like oil is dropping, but remember we had a really long up move all day yesterday during the US market, so we'll have to see what happens when it does come down to these lows. It could bounce here, could bounce here. We do have inventories coming out because it is Wednesday as well, so just something to think about. Up so far $13.50 for the day. Not adding in the $1,000 right now on the trade for gold. And one thing about gold is once it does start to move, it really starts to move. So it just broke below that low value area, so we gotta kind of manage this very carefully. But we do have potential for this thing to come all the way back down to the 18 to 17 as this thing kind of pushes down. So as you can see, it's almost going to hit that target right there, the 19.5, but I have it about 2 ticks above there just in case. And then I have additional contracts here below. So go ahead and pause the video, and I'll recap once things starts to move. Alright, I'm back. Gold is kind of consolidating right here, so I started to exit out of my some of my contracts just to lock in the profits there, because it could do one or two things. It could kind of consolidate and all of a sudden reverse on me, or it could shoot back down. But really, again, like I said, the target's down here at the 19.5, and then all the way back down here at this 18.2 low value area, which is right around that consolidation right before it broke out. So this is kind of the target zone right now. We'll see what happens, but this thing seems to be kind of consolidating right here within this area. I was thinking that once it kind of hits this long bar to the upside, that this thing would just kind of shoot down immediately here, but it's kind of going back and forth. So we'll see what happens. And then let me go ahead and stop the video, or pause the video, and then we'll come back really quickly once that starts to recap. And then oil, as you can see, came down to this area, this low value area, right? And a sideways market will hit the low value areas high value areas and just kind of bounce in between. So right now it's still bouncing around, like I said, hasn't really broken to one side or the other and shown any conviction. So we will continue to watch that, and usually that's what happens before crude oil inventory comes out on Wednesdays. You will see a sideways market for a while. So we'll play this patiently and wisely, and we'll see what happens. Back to gold, I'll go ahead and pause this, and then we'll see if this thing pushes down lower or comes back up to retrace, and then pushes down after that. Okay. But I would like to see this thing kind of push down further before it comes up and retraces here. That would be the ideal situation. All right. Let me go and pause the video again, and we'll continue in just a second. All right. So the quick update, after it did come back down, break through the low value area, it came back up to retest it. I did get stopped out of the contracts that I had left over, but I was able to lock in some profit here at the bottom. Like I said, that's why I was kind of hesitant once it started to consolidate, because I didn't see any further downside possibility with that going on, and there was a possibility that this thing could move back up to the upside, which it just did. And the 1121.1 was actually the entry that we were looking for. It's coming in a little bit deeper, maybe 1121.3 right now. If it just shoots right through it, it could go to the other side. So I'm keeping my stops pretty tight, like about a tick above this the high of this consolidation, because if it is going to drop and go back down, it shouldn't go all the way back through. It should hold this area right here, and then move back down. So that's the confirmation we're looking for. But basically what I wanted to do is just show you guys a quick trade both on oil and on gold. Was able to extract a few ticks out of gold. So we'll see what happens off of this short, if this thing will move. If it doesn't and goes to the other side, we can look for a long once it breaks above this high value area here at 1122.7. Alright, so we'll keep that in mind. Let me go ahead and pause the video, and then I'll do a quick recap once this thing moves in either direction. Okay. Alright guys, I'm back. It took some time, so it came into the bottom of that low value area, and as you can see, it's now starting to move back down. So broke, came back up into the low value area, shorted around here, and now we're seeing confirmation for this thing to move to the downside. Would like to see this kind of accelerate. It could kind of pause right here. If it doesn't break the 120 firmly, then this thing has a potential to move back up, because we are in an uptrend, so it might not come all the way back down to this low value area for a buy. And it has kind of been moving sideways for a long time, so this break should offer up a pretty good movement to the downside. But again, shorting it here with a 13 tick stop above here. Actually, I kept it around 10 ticks. So like I said, I kept the stops pretty tight. But between 13 ticks to 15 ticks maximum, I've noticed that if you do short after a breakout like that, even on gold, that it should keep moving to the direction that you think it's going to go after the breakout. So we'll see this thing possibly move down to 17.9 to 18.2, and there could be a possible buy right here, and we'll see if there's a reaction. Should be an immediate reaction off of that. So far it is moving back down again, and we'll see what happens. I'll go ahead and pause the video, and then if it reverses on us, it reverses, and we'll have to come up with a new trade based off of that. But if it does reverse, it'll have to break above here, this high value area, and kind of push off really high, and then come back down for a retracement, and then we could buy again at the high value area. and then we have potential to really move up to either side. So we'll see what happens there on gold. Go ahead and pause the video and restart it once it starts to move in one direction or the other. Alright, back again. Just want to show you real quick while we're waiting for this price to move down, how to look at targets. So really, one, I put a Fibonacci real quick just to kind of help me verify whether or not this was a valid breakout and retracement. And you look at the high here, the recent high, to the low, and you draw your Fibonacci's, and you're looking for that, 62% retracement at least. And you don't see the bars moving up there, but you see the price actually. It actually hit that 1121.5 exactly, and then came back down ever since then. So I got in a little bit early using the the low value area here. But if you use it in conjunction with Fibonacci, sometimes it can be very powerful because of the confluence there. So if this is the case, we are looking for at least 100% move down to 1120. So that's why we're holding on to this trade. And then if you want to look at how far this thing could move below the 120, basically this is what you would do here. You take a Fibonacci extension tool. You do the same thing, high to the lows, okay, and then to the highs again, right there. Oh, draw that, try it again. So zoom in this time, high to the low to the recent high, and that'll give you extension. So if I zoom out, you'll see once it blows through that 1120, it should have potential to go to the 1119.6. I had that 1119.5 earlier as a target, so that's valid. Your 100%, which would be your 1119.1, and then your 120%, which is usually your target that you're looking at, which is 1118.6. And it all kind of lines up actually with the different targets as we kind of go down, which we'll look at based on the consolidation as this thing moved up. So if you're moving against it, it makes sense that it'll stop along the way, because it did stop on the way up. So if it comes back and reverses against it, it kind of should stop on the way back down too, and it just happens to kind of line up with this Fibonacci extension. So the lower end would be this 1117.6, and that also kind of lines up with this low value area where we could be looking for a long if it does come back down and completely retraces it, but it would have to come down pretty fast, and normally that's what happens, is we see a fast, really quick move to the downside after the market's been trending in one direction, and then you could have a reactionary trade right there for first time test, and then we could buy right there. So if it doesn't move down and then breaks back into profile, and then goes to the other side, then there's a potential trade for this thing to move to the other side. So we just have to wait a little bit patiently on this, but at this point I would kind of look at this thing as far as any stops that I might have, and possibly move it down a little bit above the recent high 11.215. I wouldn't, once it did kind of come in and push down, if it's really going to move down, I wouldn't expect it to kind of retrace like this. If it goes any higher than that, probably best just to get out of the trade. So something to think about. I'll go ahead and pause the video again, and we'll see what happens. Alright guys, I'm back. Finally did break. It actually broke both sides, but it was so quick off of the news. But really the trade that we were looking for was this bounce off of the 118, right? And literally to the tick, if I put this on here, the low of 118, literally hit that 18, and you got 20 ticks immediately off of that. So that was a valid trade right there. Um, Again, you had a nice uptrend, and finally comes down. You look at the low value area. This was the stronger low value area right here, and that trade literally happened within a minute or two, and came back up immediately after that. So um, again, that was a valid trade for the day on gold. And go ahead and close this video out. And if there's anything additional on oil after the inventory news comes out, we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and record that, and then we'll look at that trade. All right, guys. Other than that, if no other trade comes up, good night.